any president,
Okay.
anytime.
Why, Grant?
Dude, it's so fast. There's so much happening. There's so much action. Like
So we're you're seeing results. You're happy with the results.
I'm happy with the progress.
Ah, okay.
I'm happy with the progress. Sometimes the progress has to come before the victory. Like they're moving the ball down the field. I don't
Mm.
need to see the scoreboard yet. I need, what I see right now, like in football, you get to see the defense gets worn out in the first 2 or 3 quarters, and then all the points come in the fourth quarter.
He's gaining yardage, and that's fine.
Well,
Long as he can get
if
to another
nothing else,
first down, he's
he's
good.
beating that front line down, and he's
Mm-hmm.
staying on offense longer than he stays on defense. He's controlling the ball most of the time. The score might not reflect it yet, but he's moving. He is moving on the defense. Like look, the Democratic Party has fallen apart in the last 120 days. Like
Mm-hmm.
you guys cannot defend the the infrastructure of the Democratic Party is completely fucking fractured.
Mm-hmm.
And are they going to run AOC? What's happening to Schumer? Like the whole infrastructure is broken, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't even know what their messaging is. Like so that's what I mean. He's got them on full defense. He's going to now go sue the legacy media for I don't know $6 or $10 billion, and
Billion, I
probably
think.
will win it. Will probably win that lawsuit. By the way, folks, if he wins any portion of that, by the way, and they tap out, this fucking game changer.
Mm-hmm.
So he is playing full offense. 75% of the time he is on. He's got the ball in his hand. He's moving in some direction, controlling the media, the narratives. Has the legacy media and the liberal. I don't think Democrats. I mean the extreme Democrats, the extreme liberals are like can't figure out what they're doing right now, and the rest of the Democrats are lost. So
I'd like to add to that, but I
All
really
right,
think,
Barth with the good hair.
oh, that's right. We're acting like he hasn't accomplished anything. He's reduced immigration by 94%. He's added $1.1 trillion of private sector money into America. He's adding things that, like, when was the last time Americans like talked about something that is actually going to help them? You hear no tax on tips all the time. You hear,
Mm-hmm.
the if you buy an American car, you get it. Like I don't remember seeing like ideas from the Biden administration and before, even Trump in his first term will even say, 'cause I don't recall any exact ones that were like showing the middle class people, the everyday person, like, hey, here's a way you can save some money by something our government is going to implement. And by the way, we've taken this thing and we found a bunch of bullshit that all your money's been going to already. Uh, he also,
what about Maha?
damn, that's good
all,
for now.
all,
I
all
got to
those
find.
red dyes are going to be illegal by the end of 2026. That's awesome.
Thank God.
Thank God. That
Yeah.
shit I just ate probably won't even be legal by next year.
Yeah, I don't know how many dyes was in that. Okay. I think it was red and yellow in that, Grant. Be careful. Yeah, I think, I mean, the football analogy is a
Part of why
good analogy.
Canada's not going to even be able to have the red in their flag anymore because that's a fucking dye.
Oh, shoot. Canada, y'all gonna take that?
I'm looking in the chat, and it looks like the Liberal Party won. It's official. So no 51. All that rhetoric is about to be dead. But I wanted to point out, we have a problem. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted, "Evil is being defeated by the hand of God" on the morning that the Pope died. Now, how cold and harsh do you have to be to tweet something like that? And this thing is moving at a snail's pace. The House, the Senate, we have not passed a law in this country in over 100 days. You have the House, you have the Senate, you damn near got SCOTUS under your shoe, and we're just flinging executive orders. Pass a law. Charge the House and the Senate, and I'm gonna say it every night. Charge the House and the Senate to
What is
bring
he
a
talking
law.
about? What is he talking about? We have passed laws in
I'm
this country in the
talking.
last
I'm
100 days.
talking. You can go.
Hey,
You
hey,
can go when I'm done. You can go when I'm done. Cause you always seem to get triggered when I come off mic. I ain't speak all
No,
night.
I'm not triggered. You're just
Okay, so
wrong.
mute your fucking
Let him
mic.
finish,
Thank you.
TC. You might
Appreciate
add
you.
more wrong stuff.
Okay, yeah. All right, sure. Okay, so again, where are the laws that benefit us? What's being passed? I haven't heard. We got the big great whatever. What is that?
The who?
What they call that? Some big great deal or great? I don't even know the name of the bullshit that they trying to put out there. Okay, and you guys talking about, oh, no tax on tips? Yeah, I don't think so. No tax on overtime? It's not gonna happen. It's all a bunch of bullshit. He's telling you what y'all want to hear, and y'all eating it up.
We
This
got
is a
breaking news.
shit
We
show.
got breaking news. Breaking news out of Canada. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Divine
go
got
ahead, Chad.
interrupted.
Go ahead.
Divine got interrupted again.
Yeah, breaking news. Prime Minister Mark Carney won. The Liberals won a federal election in Canada. Let's see. Mark
That was a
Carney's
vote
Liberals
against.
won a federal.
Yep. Liberals
e-
won.
Liberals won in Canada, right? We're the
That's right.
Canadians.
So we're all
Woo!
very happy.
How are y'all feeling about that,
That's
Canadians?
exactly what we all wanted, everybody, all the Canadians.
All right. So what
And
does that
now
mean
we're
for
Absolutely.
Canada?
now we're just waiting to see if the government is going to be a majority or a minority.
I'm telling you, you liberals are good at this. I was about to pack Divine's ass up with that false stat he gave of no bills being passed under Trump. And then Chat came in with the swoop, with the alley oop, saved his ass. Breaking news! Breaking news! We've got breaking news. Divine is spreading bullshit. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Let's help him. Breaking news, Canada. Change the subject.
I'm just doing what I'm told to do, sir.
Now the only thing that can save Canada is Donald Trump.
No, Donald Trump is the reason they have a liberal win because
Mhm.
they were voting against Donald Trump. 100%. If Trump had not said anything about annexation or tariffs, the conservatives were winning the election up to that time, and then Trump went and got meddling into Canadian business, and next thing you know, that all went downhill from there, and we don't like that kind of talk. We're our own country. Thank you very much, and I'll land with that.
You
But
guys have never
that's the
been your own
problem with
country.
the
You guys have
that's the
never been your own country. Okay, you're the highest, one of the highest tax modern societies on planet Earth. You own nothing. Okay, if your poverty level in your country is off the rails, you would be the 51st. I'm sorry. Yeah, you would be the 50. No, the 49th most poverty state in America if you were part of our country.
Well,
And the
maybe we
fact that
shouldn't
you
be.
guys
Then that's the
celebrate
case.
more than this bullshit. Your tax rate is already fucking 50% or something, 53,
Yeah, but
55,
you know what? Our
and y'all
roads
just
are
keep taking
nicer.
it.
We don't pay
Living in Canada is
tolls.
like being at a Diddy party 24/7.
There you go.
Take that, and take that.
Yeah.
oh
Okay,
my
we
god.
will. We'll
Put
take
that
it.
on a shirt
We'll take
But
it.
the
or
thing is,
four.
why did Trump come meddle into our elections today by basically saying all this crap? It didn't help the conservatives.
Fight
Like,
back,
why is he
Canada.
even
Fight
doing
back.
that? Did he think that that was going to help?
No,
So
he just
Canada's
want was just want to insert his nasty self into everything. And anyway, I'm going back on mute because I'm watching the TV now. So
I know, so am
um
I. I'm not just waiting
yeah, I'm
to
watching the
majority.
How do y'all
TV
feel about this? How do
and
y'all feel?
Canada.
Is this a
It's
hopeful
hilarious.
sign?
Oh yeah, it's
Oh my
Carney.
god.
He's not gonna get pushed around by Trump. He's really gonna put him in his place.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, the thing is that you guys think you're God, okay? I did my part. I supported, I prayed, I did everything that I could do. And for those people who want Canada to be number 51, for those people who want people to suffer so that you can gain something, you are selfish. Take that, take that, take that.
And here's the funny part. Everybody keeps saying 51st state. We have more landmass than Americans. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories. You've got North and South Dakota. So why can't we have North and South Ontario or Quebec or British Columbia? So that'd be 23 states. 23 states, we'd flip and you guys would become liberal. Do you
Because it
really
is not.
want us to be
Yeah,
basically part of America?
because it is not yours, and you can't want to go and steal people's thing. All you want to do, you see other countries have whatever resources, and you want to steal it. That's why, and no Canadian, 95% of Canada did not want this. And I say this in these rooms all the time, but you guys, some of you think you know better than everybody else. I don't know. Maybe you think you have a little bit of power. Maybe you think you have a little bit more money. You come into these rooms and you talk bullshit and let people believe it. Canadians did not want it. They vote against it. And we are not voting. We are voting for, as a matter of fact, the Liberal Party now, everything rises and falls on the leadership. It's more centrist than right or left or whatever you guys want to call it. That's what we want. We are Canada. This is Canada, and Canada is not the United States. So why should we want to be number 51? So when you come in here with talking your bullshit, keep it to yourself and stop meddling in our business. We do not care. We want to work together. We do not want to be 51. So just get that in your cranium. And right now, it seems that you have no argument. So you just done it right now because we just voted for what we wanted. We did it at the polls. And no Canadian will be on TikTok crying. Like what you did, some of you voted for Donald Trump and have half of your country on TikTok crying that they made a mistake. It's not going to happen. We're
So
good.
you should be happy not to pay us for us to pay you $200 billion a year.
Nobody was paying $200 billion. You're lying. You come in here and you talk your bullshit and think people are going to believe you. The people who are smart and thinking and can do the calculations know that there is no $200 billion in deficit. And I land, and I don't want to hear any more of you tonight because you're going to come with some bullshit. I land.
And here's the thing, I was going to vote conservative in Canada until Trump started opening his mouth. Literally, I was going to vote conservative. I'm in Alberta. It's a bunch of oil over here. I want to make sure it goes through. But after what Trump said, I'm like, yo, you know what? I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to have to flip, look at the whole situation, and go liberal. And unfortunately, I had to go liberal because Trump came in with his tariff threats, annexation threats, and we're not about it. So, you know what? If this is going to be the case in point, tell you what, it's going to hurt both sides of the equation. We don't want to basically be combative. We're peaceful people. You know what? We're happy to have our one baseball team and our 6 or 7 hockey teams, whatever. Hopefully, we win the cup and bring it back to Canada. But if not, it's okay. We won the world championships in hockey. We got that gold. We're good with that. We know we're not all that. But hey, at least this is the wake up call that we need. And if we can basically live in -30 weather, guess what? We're gonna be tough enough to basically deal with any kind of economic and
Mhm.
recreate those relationships and do whatever. Because you know what, we're dealing with cold here, and we're tough. So I'll land with that.
Well, first of all, y'all haven't won a Stanley Cup in 25 years. I would never bring up hockey again. Help
You
me
know what?
understand something, Theory.
We won the championship. We won the we won
Cool.
we
We
won the
won the first
national and
three
Olympic
fights.
championships.
We made you look Canada in 2 minutes in that first one. Help me
Let
understand
the
something.
let the Canadian let it out.
Help me
They're letting it out,
understand something,
Scott.
Theory. Why, or now that a Republican or conservative, whatever you want to say, in Canada has lost the election, what difference is that going to make to Trump? Like now that a liberal was, what could have been beneficial to Trump if it was a conservative? Like, why does it matter?
Carney has a relationship
I
with
want to hear
Trump
theory,
prior to
please.
this, prior to all of
Theory.
this.
May I please hear you?
They've had business relationships. Carney knows how to deal with Trump. He knows his negotiation tactics. So that's a heads up for a leader in our country dealing with Trump.
Whatever Trump wants, we don't want. We want the opposite. He doesn't want Carney. He wanted Polyev, and he didn't get Polyev. Tried to meddle this morning in our elections. Why would you come and basically say all of this trash on the day of our election? That is
Because he's
unacceptable. That is
trolling y'all.
unacceptable.
He's
Trolling,
trolling
that's
y'all.
not the time to troll. Shut up.
Trump is
Mind
using
your own business.
Canada. Oh, they finish. Go ahead. Well, it's
Yeah,
time for
mind your
y'all to
own
wake up and
business. You've got a
realize.
whole freaking bunch of fires you've started. Why don't you go extinguish those instead of starting another one on our day of election? Can we get our election without interference, please? Like, that's not acceptable. And you guys shouldn't accept that as part of your leadership. And the fact that you're even entertaining this is just ridiculous to me because you guys, if the shoe was reversed, you wouldn't stand for it. And I bet you wouldn't.
That's a fact. But we don't have leadership right now. That's the problem.
Devon, you should keep quiet about facts.
Yeah, you got your ass handed to you about leadership the other day.
That's not a fact.
You didn't even. I asked you how many people you led.
Get his
I
ass,
lead.
Scooby
I,
Dooby.
I lead every day, man. You don't know nothing about me, Scooby Doo. Okay.
You read a book on leadership and think you know how to lead.
Hardly. Fight back, Divine. Fight back.
Dang.
He can't.
You
He's
got a
still trying to
stud
figure
missile
out how many
drop over there.
laws was passed under the Trump administration this year. That's crazy. He came out with his full chest too. Go back on mute. I know what I'm. And he's going to restate the same false information again. That's crazy.
Oh, nasty.
How those deals coming along?
The
Has
hate
Trump
is
signed
real,
anything?
chat. Somebody booted me. It's all good though. Love you back, Peter.
No, no one boo, no one boo. Hey guys, so yeah, Trump making the statement today really hurt the conservative party, guys. It did, and now Carney has a mandate. He's going to have a mandate, I believe, and that mandate is going to be to oppose Trump. Alan,
Canada, Canada having a mandate is crazy. He got a mandate. What are you going to do with his mandate, Jonathan? To oppose Trump. What are you going to do with his mandate, Jonathan?
You know where we're going to join forces with
Is
the
it
rest
that
of the world?
Canadians' entire
Listen, he has a
economy?
mandate
Canadians'
to
entire
do.
economy is
He has
predicated on trade with
he
America.
has a
What is he going to
mandate.
do with his mandate?
He has a
Canada,
mandate.
we have like
You can
seven
stop
states
talking
with
now
a
because you've been
larger
talking all
economy
night.
than Canada.
You can hey hello. You can stop talking now. Let me speak 1 minute.
Yvonne, I was talking.
He
You weren't
has
talking.
but you've been talking all night and as snarky as you want to be, you've been talking. He has a
You're lucky,
mandate
my old
to
man.
And
do the
you
things
said you
that
were
he
going to go
needs
watch
to
TV.
do.
You said you were going to go watch TV. So why don't you just keep your promises?
What, like Trump?
Why don't you go keep your promises? Go watch TV. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, Yvonne. Listen, I don't know why
Go ahead,
you
Auntie.
guys think I don't. She where did she go? I was listening to her. Where'd she go? I don't think she stayed
She's
here
going to go
tonight.
watch TV. She's going to get back in her recliner.
He has a
Jonathan.
mandate, and whoever is muting me, listen, he has a mandate to forge relationships with other countries. United States is not the only country in the world. We are not saying that we'll not do business with you, but he has a mandate now to go and forge relationships that he started forging a month ago when he took over as interim prime minister. Every leader of a country has, carry out whatever policies. Now we're giving him a mandate to say these policies that you talked about in your election, go ahead and implement them. That
So,
is what a
so let me
mandate.
get
That
let
is
me get
what the
this right,
mandate
Yvonne.
is. Snarky.
Let me get this right, Yvonne. You got one of the worst healthcare systems in the world,
What
and
are you talking
you
about?
think you guys just voted in Kerry with a mandate to stop Trump? Like the one
Listen,
problem you can
listen.
solve
You can
versus the
say,
one problem you can't solve. Like there's nothing you can do about Trump. I don't care how much prayers and well wishes and kumbayas you do. You're not going to be able to quote oppose Trump. That's just like an oxymoron. It doesn't even belong in the same sentence with Canada. But
all
that's to
right,
put that to the
okay,
side, right?
all right. Thank you very
You
much.
have health care to deal
Well,
with.
gonna
Why are you guys
are
talking
you
about a
gonna
mandate
do?
to oppose
Listen.
Trump? How about a mandate
All right,
how about a
are you gonna
mandate
land?
to
Let me answer. We have a healthcare system that you have never experienced. I have a healthcare system over here that I have experienced, and according to a lot of people who I hear talk, it's actually better than yours. I have a healthcare system where I know a
That's why we
family member
shouldn't listen
of
to the voices
mine
in
in
your
the
head,
past
Yvonne. That's why we shouldn't listen to
a
those
family
voices in your
member
head.
close to me in the past had cancer. He had no issues. He went and he got his treatment. A lot of different people close to me have had situations where they had no issues. And at my age and stage, as I'm telling you, whatever I need to do, I have no issues. I see the doctor twice a month, I pay zero. And if you guys are saying I pay something, yes, I do pay something when I do my tax returns, maybe $600, but the amount of benefits that the people here get is more. What I have met people who says that they have thousands of dollars of expenses and they in this United States and they can't pay for it. Maybe you can pay Snarky Puppy, but there are a lot of people in the United States who would die for our healthcare system over here in Ontario. So for you to be telling me about something that you have not experienced is crazy to me. But I know you like to talk, right? I've known you for 4 years and you like to talk. So keep talking.
If I may add to that too, I mean, I have folks in the States, and my brother lives in Atlanta. He pays out of his paycheck $600 for him and his family every paycheck for health insurance. And then on top of that, he's got deductibles, and they don't cover half the stuff that they need. I basically look at my family in comparison, and I barely I scratch the surface. It's a portion of that, if that. So when you look at things and how they balance out, I don't know where this talk about the healthcare system, but TC, if you ever need anything, we'll welcome you over here, man, and just take care of you, man. If you're not able to afford your stuff, man, just come on through, man. Hit me up, message me, man, and I'll sponsor you, man. You can come up here and just enjoy a little bit of the snow and some of that good healthcare we got over
Oh,
here. And I'll land with that.
listen. Canada has some of the best trees and outdoor wildlife, alpine views. Like when I go to Canada, well, I've never been to Canada. That's a lie. But when I go to the north, those alpine views are amazing. I would love to kick back in Canada, but what I can't do is I can't listen to a whole bunch of Canadians lecture me about a mandate to oppose Trump. That shit is crazy. I'm sorry. I just feel like you guys have more important things to worry about than opposing Trump. Like, remember when the liberals tried to do that in America, how that turned out for them? Now they over here licking their wounds, boo-hooing on a nightly basis and calling everybody, out of their name because they don't have any power. They have no power. They've literally given up all their power because they tried to invest all that shit in the liberal left agenda, and Americans just wasn't buying it. So they invested all their political capital in far left, woke, progressive, liberal agenda items, and nobody was buying it. And now, what do they have to show for themselves besides a good quip line and and a name here and there that they're gonna throw around? That's it. That's all they
Snarky
have.
Puppy, stop talking bullshit because you what do you
Case in point
what
number
do
one. Case in
what do
point
you
number one.
have
Go
to
ahead, Yvonne.
show with all every couple of weeks you get a school shooting and a this and a that and a that. Listen, leave Canadians alone. We can done this conversation right now. Your healthcare is shit. You have your people gunning down
Our
the people in
healthcare
the streets
is a
every
lot better
day.
than
You're
Canadians'
bringing
healthcare.
guns to Canada. You're sending your guns over here. We stopped sending whatever little fentanyl was coming across. No more coming. But we don't want your guns. That's what is happening right now. All your guns coming over and here. Your cocaine. And your cocaine. So keep it over there. And for the lady who said we have meth in machines, maybe she's a meth sniffer. I don't know what you do with meth. I've never been related to anybody who do drugs, but the drug ridden gunslinging. Listen, don't let me start because you started. So if you want to have that battle with me, I'll have it.
In TC, this is Mariana. It's so hard to believe you when you talk about like the liberals and the left and this and the way you speak. I can't believe you because you were a liberal 2 days ago, okay? And now the way you speak now is just like it's weird. It's weird when you speak. I don't believe
Don't worry,
anything you say.
Mariana.
I'm
Which
sorry.
part don't
I'm
Don't
sorry, but
worry. Don't worry,
what
I
don't you
believe
Mariana.
you too,
believe?
Don't
TC.
don't
You know what they have, Mariana
don't
here?
worry.
Stop.
Don't
That
worry about
no,
it,
no,
Mariana.
I'm not
Once
talking to
once you
you.
start. Mariana, once you
Mariana,
start
Wait,
making
did she
So
land?
I'm
Mariana,
just talking to
once
Can
you
she
start,
PC
land?
what
Can
I
she
Mariana,
land?
feel.
Appreciate it.
Mariana, I can
Okay, I
guarantee
can
you,
believe
Can
you.
Mariana,
she
I can
land?
So
believe
Land?
anything you say.
disrespectful,
Can she
man.
land?
Please stay.
Appreciate you.
Nothing.
unbelievable. Mariana,
Nothing.
Mariana,
I
I can
cannot
guarantee
believe
you,
anything you say. Sorry.
Mariana,
Mariana.
I can guarantee you, once you start to make a little bit more money, you're going to start making a lot more sense. Trust
Oh
Okay.
me,
boy,
All right.
you
TC.
don't know
agenda ain't going to be there
you
for
don't
you.
know my
Uh,
wallet. Okay, so don't get
okay.
into that. You
Mariana.
don't know me, and I don't know you, so just stay away.
It's a caricature, guys. Don't fall for the bait. It's all a game.
Yeah.
Don't get into that with me.
It's a
Okay,
Yeah.
you don't
caricature.
know me.
So, Mariana, you know what I wanted to tell you? I have cousins who've had children in the USA and they get like 3 months of maternity leave. In Ontario, we get 2 years parental leave. That means a father can take a year, the mother can take a year, they can take it however they want to take it. We have 2 years. They give us 2 years paid leave from the government to raise our children, to spend more time with them, to nurture them. Those are the most important years of a child, are the first 2 years. So that is what the government believes that we should be putting into our family, those efforts, as opposed to your government over there, unfortunately, does not feel that it's important that parents do spend the first 2 years of their life at home with their child, and we get paid to do that. So my cousin was freaking out saying, wow, that's incredible. In 3 months, we need to go back to work. Like, that's it. We have to go. So that's something to be said. And this is why people tend to be here as they're growing up because, like I said, those first 2 years are crucial years for any child. If there's any mothers on the stage, they would understand that. I land.
Thank you for sharing that, Tally.
And
Awesome,
just
by the way.
And yeah, just to follow up on what TC was saying, yeah, Carney's mandate isn't just to look at, well, opposing Trump. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, we didn't start these tariffs. We have to adjust. We have to pivot. And Carney's had a relationship because he used to basically run the Bank of England as well. So he's created and fostered some relationships out with a ton of European businesses, and that whole spectrum of the globe. So with that said, that was one of the key reasons where I felt that voting for him would accelerate those relationships and those potential deals to start moving away our stuff from America. And you know what? If we suffer for a while, if we basically like don't do as well, we'll figure it out. I mean, shoot, at the end of the day, China's hurting right now as well. Let's not basically front like their factories are not basically impacted because the United States has basically shut things down. But what I would look at very carefully here is just let's look at the domino effect down the line a little bit. I think you're about a week or two away from starting to basically get some shelving issues here at some of your major stores
Dude, you're not
because
China and you're definitely not America. Stop it.
well, we're not China, we're not America, but the thing is, we're recreating new trading partnerships and agreements, and it's not going to go back. And that's going to basically end up hurting a lot of American industries, therefore, workers, federal workers. There's just too much going on that Trump is not properly executed. And you can't look at me as an intelligent male and tell me, hey, look, what Trump and the way that he's approaching that is systematic. It makes sense. It's well planned. There's no, if that was the case, we wouldn't be shifting. Oh, tariffs are on. They're not on. They're, like this back and forth is just really confusing the shit out of a lot of businesses out in south of the border and across the globe. So TC, you can't tell me that all of these fires that he's creating is not changing the landscape of the economics. It may take 5, 10 years, however long it takes. But people are not going to trust the United States. It's damaged the
That's
brand of the
right.
United States, unfortunately. And I'm just going to land with that. And you can say whatever it is that you want to say, but you have to take those accounts into accountability. And I have no
Thierry, can I
grandeur to
just
that.
add to what you said, Thierry? Because what they did not understand that when Carney became interim prime minister, one of the things that he did was to start selling off those bonds. He was one of the first ones to do it. The next thing he did, another thing during this time, he went to forge relationships with the EU and Britain and Australia and all that. In that same period of time, in only 30 days, he had to have a deal with the Australians to create some kind of security asset to protect the northern border. He announced billions of dollars that he was going to invest in NORAD. He has done so much in 30 days. So what we have done, we have seen what he has done in 30 days. Everything rises and falls on leadership. We decide to elect this man, we decide to give him a mandate because we see what he has done in only 30 days. He's energetic, he's smart. And I hear somebody come in here one day and say something really nasty about this man. Listen, the man is his name is already on our money. Okay, his name is already on our money. He already signs our money. So he took us out of one of the worst financial crises of our time, the 2008 financial crisis. He was the governor of the Bank of Canada. And what he does during that time, not one of our banks went down. And nobody in here can tell me about 2008. I experienced it and I was there. So when people in this room who maybe, I don't know how old some of you are, but I think some of you have amnesia, forget some of the things and the times and things have happened, because some of you in here even forget COVID and supply chain issues that you would blame a whole situation on one government. So I do not have time to have conversations with people who do not think and who are myopic in their thinking and who cannot even analyze anything because it is tiring. And for big ass people who can go read and who can go Google and who can go deep seek and chat GPT, I really do not have the time to argue with people like TC because he has one agenda. He flips from Republican to this. He flips to Republican because they had a woman to run for president of the United States, and he did not want to. He did not like how she was put there or how she was elected, and he flipped. So for somebody to be so flippant, I don't have time to argue with somebody like TC. I hear him every night in here, and his arguments are very elementary, and he doesn't have any basis. I learned.
Drop the mic. Yvonne, go Canada.
Yeah, man, we're on a power play here. Where's TC at?
Oh, bring him on. Bring it on. The problem is that he doesn't fight fairly in this, and we're not fighting, but he doesn't communicate with a balance. We need a timer on him to go like 10 seconds. Get 10 seconds left. Boom. You can't speak.
But when you fact check and you basically use logic, um, there's some points that he makes that are just not supportable.
Exactly. Like that whole thing about the way, Trump's approval rating. It went from it went down 10% this month. The what's going on in the White House is so unsettling for people. So they pull back on buying the new car. They pull back on taking that vacation with their family. And we're going into spring, summer, the height here in the U.S., opposite in the Southern Hemisphere. But parents and partners are looking to go on vacation. Parents and partners with or partners with kids are looking to go on vacation, and the kids are going to be home more, so more food's going to be going through that kitchen because they're not taking. Yes, do many of them have lunches, but also many parents pay for the lunch program at schools, and so that then you're talking about another bite, bite at your paycheck. Summers can be expensive between feeding the kids and going more retail therapy. They're available more camps they're paying for. But I do think that we're be interesting to see what happens in the next month, in my opinion, around Q1 earnings and inflation and what the Fed says. But I think it's probably going to be September before they do anything. It's just an uncertain time, driven by Donald Trump.
Laura, I want to jump in real quick. So in Vegas, there's a lot of layoffs starting to really take off, especially we are a tourist destination, and they have cut a lot of the labor force because they're not getting the visitors. It's down 10 to 12% last few months, and so they're cutting back on that. And a lot of people are canceling their flights to Vegas. They have increased, like, resort fees, parking fees are back on the plate, and for a while they pushed that out, and now these corporations are getting greedy. But right when recession hit, so when they're greedy and the recession is hitting, that means it's a double-edged sword, and there is no, like, extra money for people to come out here and gamble. I mean, gaming revenue has also gone down. So I'm just saying, from a local perspective, is that people are really being careful about what they're spending right now. I mean, I'm sure the wealthy doesn't have to worry because they got their, their big nest egg, but the rest of them, it's really affecting the Main Street, not Wall Street. So I want to add that, Laura.
That's a really good point, because one of the things that we're noticing too, I mean, your Laura made a great point talking about some of the domestic, kind of components going into play, how people are tightening their belts in the middle class, so on and so forth. As far as Canadians, we're not crossing that border, and we bring about $20 billion of tourism to the United States, even though we basically take a hit on the dollar exchange. We do love going to the United States. We do love, just, visiting the different areas. Guys have great cities, like New York, Vegas, Miami, LA, and some of these other areas as well. I mean, don't want to leave out any of the states here, but, it's fun to take a drive and basically go down. But we're not doing that. We're staying home because, we're being threatened, and we would rather spend our money within our own country. And this expands not just in Canada, but because of the affront that's taking place across the globe, it's coming from all countries. Travel is down. Your travel tourism industry. If you guys go just check out on YouTube what's going on, there's a domino effect to what Trump is doing. And there's so many fires and so many impacts that within the next couple of weeks, or as summer starts basically going through, there's going to be some visible, kind of insights into what the cost of Trump's actions has basically been against the United States. And I think people are going to start turning on him, and now it's going to become a situation where, what are Americans going to do about it? Because it sure as hell ain't coming from the Republican Party. They're all under a spell. They don't want any retaliation. So who's going to basically stand up to Trump and say, look, enough is enough? And what are we going to do, right? And so I'll land with that, because really the fight is with you guys now. As things start to basically deteriorate, you're gonna have to basically figure out something as Americans.
We figured it out already. We got to tighten up our wallet, and we're going through a time of change, and it's going to take time to recover. But we couldn't keep going the way we were going, because it was a bad direction. We were just getting further and further in debt.
No, that's fair, Scooby, and I appreciate that, and I totally get it. I get the reason as to why. I just don't get the how. The how to me is absolutely ridiculous. And maybe it's because there's a 4-year political cycle. There's 2 years in the primary, and Trump just felt like, hey, I'm just going to take a bowling ball approach to this and just throw it down the lane and see what basically hits. But that's just not the way to basically approach things. And so the how to me is crazy. And the fact that it's on so many fronts and it has a widespread effect on so many industries, government, farmers, auto industry, manufacturing, even Apple and the stock market. And then you've got, manufacturing, like, demands and needs for products so that you can even create your stuff. None of this makes sense. It's like a circus show. It's a clown show. So tightening your wallets may be one part of it, but you can't trust this administration to bring you into the light if that's where they've taken you so far in the first 100 days. So that's why I go back to the title of this room. This is definitely a failing grade. If I could give a grade worse than an F minus, I would, because this is absolutely, like, this is an art class. I mean, this is a master class in sabotaging a country's economy.
This might be the best thing that could happen to us. We don't know yet. I mean, I'm going to give him a C right now, because I don't know which way it's going to go. It could lead to an F, and it can lead to an A.
We're on the precipice of stagflation.
When you start seeing the shelves being emptied out, in your stores, and you start seeing the price of goods going up, you're seeing people that are losing their jobs, but yet they need a healthcare system to basically get medical care and help, but they don't have their jobs anymore. And so now, if they get sick, they got to go to the hospital if they need anything, but they don't have coverage. What are they going to basically do then? Companies are not hiring, tourists are not coming. So, Scooby, I don't know how you're giving this a C grade when there's so many impacts that are taking place across the board. And if you want to give it a C based on the vision of what's going to happen 5 years down the line, okay, that's fair. But again, I'll bring it back to the point of the how this is being executed is an absolute mess. It's like flying planes without having a watchtower or basically like an air traffic controller. It's just crashing all over the place.
See, that's maybe in your mind, but if you would have asked me and a bunch of people in my circle 6 months ago, this is what we thought was going to happen. We talked about these things. We knew that the economy was in trouble and things were going to need to change. And so anybody in my circle, this isn't a surprise to us. This is exactly what we've expected, what we voted for. We voted for change in all those sectors you're talking about: farming, manufacturing, business, small business. Like, things needed to change. Middle class, low class, government spending. Things needed to change. We all knew it. And it wasn't going to be like roses and butterflies. So this is exactly what we expected.
No, and I hear you, Nate. But again, the chaotic nature of how things are going, even watching Trump basically like just whiff out of the mouth and basically getting involved into our elections and just going back and forth on the tariffs. Make a decision, stick to it, and understand the impacts of that decision when you start applying 25% tariffs, 145%. At least if there was some kind of certainty. But the fact that he's waffling back and forth, Nate, you can't really look at me and basically say, hey, this is what we expected. Nobody expected this to be that bad. And as a matter of fact, if this is what you were expecting, he should have announced it on the campaign trail as opposed to basically saying that he was going to reduce the cost of living immediately for people. Well, really, in essence, they're more stressed than ever because they've lost their livelihood.
See, I don't know if he said it. Did he say he was going to reduce the cost of living immediately?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's it's. He said he was going to reduce the cost of groceries and the cost of living because people were talking to him about groceries. The price of eggs are down, and that's what he's basically saying. He's going to make things easier and less expensive. He ran on an economic platform. I don't know it verbatim, but that's definitely
Well,
what he
that's
basically
one
was
thing. I'm going
conveying.
to reduce the cost of living immediately. Or he said, "Hey, we're gonna work to get groceries down. Groceries are too expensive. Gas is too expensive. The eggs was a big thing. The eggs are too expensive." And I believe those things have come down.
Day one is pretty much fucking immediately.
And at least eggs and gas, if we want to talk about everything, but eggs and gas have come down.
If he did these
He blamed
tariffs
me
like
for
one,
gas.
if he did these tariffs one at a time, it would have drug on for years versus the way he did it. I mean, I thought it was a bad thing at first, but then I thought about if he tried to do renegotiate these agreements with each country separately, one at a time, what's going to bring them to the table? They have no reason to come to the table unless they get the tariffs put on them. Now they're forced to come to the table, and he can resolve them in a reasonable amount of time instead of dragging out for 10, 12, 14 years of back and forth. It's going to be handled a little bit more expediently and all at once versus drug out. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but there's actions that are taking place without having a proper contingency plan. And in my profession, one of the things that I do before I basically install a new IT system or I basically do any of those things, I have to talk to a change management specialist that can basically help to navigate the waters so that there's a proper plan in place or at least some fail safes when shit hits the fan. And there's none of that going on. And on top of that, you got miscommunication going on back and forth. He had 4 years, and I know he was under siege because he was being sued and he was going to go to jail, and all of these things were going on. And he seemed initially, when he first got into office, to have, a cadence to what he was doing. But when he started announcing those tariffs, I mean, what I suggested is say, listen, put tariffs across the board, but make it incremental. Start them at 3%. Go then a month later, go at 6%. Then a month later, go at 9%, and then keep incrementing them and cap them off at a particular amount to A, allow the businesses to basically adjust, B, allow for deals to come to the table at the same point in time, understanding that there's a timeline to this. But even an idea as simple as that, instead you're having a waffling back and forth that's basically fear-based, and people don't like that. And when people basically don't like stuff, they fight back. And that's what's basically going on, is the America as a whole, as a brand across the world, is looked upon as the bad guy now because of the way they are approaching things. Even them basically saying they've talked to China. China's basically saying nobody's talked to us. There's just no consistency in the messages, and there's no ethics in the way that they're going about it. And they're just looking very disorganized as an administration, unfortunately, which dilutes the trust that's taking place, which is going to be represented in the stock market. So there's a way to do things in terms of change, and you can do that change, Scooby. You can lay those tariffs across the board, but you got to do it in a way that allows even your businesses time to adjust. No one was given a playbook. It just basically says this is what's going to happen, and you're going to have to adjust. Now your businesses are scrambling. The world is scrambling, but so is your businesses. I'll land with that.
I just think Donald Trump don't think about this on his own. I think he's got some smart people above him that think about this ahead of time and give him advice. I don't think. I mean, he just has all the people up there, and they probably talk about this stuff. I'm sure. Just because we don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not occurring.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was multiple contingency plans. They didn't just go into this and be like, "We're going to tell everybody that you got tariffs, you got a tariff, you got a tariff, you got a tariff," and then we'll just leave it at that. Come on, you really think that? These are smart, smart people, calculated people. Like you're smart in your business, in the IT world. These guys are smart. They have their contingent. They're like, let's do this. Some countries are going to respond. If other countries, and the countries that don't, then we're going to do this. And then we'll do this. Like they're trying to figure it out. And they're trying to make massive changes to major, major issues that we're facing in our country and across the world with the economy, with everything we talked about in all those different sectors. So it's not just like, oh, we'll do this and then you can adjust. Like it's almost rip the band-aid off. We've got to do this and we're going to figure it out as we go with a lot of ideas in place if something goes this direction, this direction, this direction.
Theory, it's like you said, change management is the key phrase. It's highly important. You've got to manage the change. You can't drop an A bomb and expect everything to go well. You've got to manage the change up front, through the middle, and then on the backside.
Absolutely, and that's been my plight the whole entire time. I don't have an issue with what the strategy is, or what the outcome is, or what the end in mind is. Hey, China's basically doing this, or Canada's doing this. Oh, are we? Okay, let's look at that. Okay, fine. Let's be amicable about this. We've been partners, God knows, since we both our countries have basically been erected. Why change that now? We can figure things out. We can be creative. We're human beings. We're all intelligent. Let's figure out an approach that works without offending each other. But now, because of this lack of change, it's kind of like, hey, let's go in the China Bowl here at Shop and just start knocking things over, as opposed to following the path and expect for everything to basically wind up just as it is or better. No, it's not going to get better, unfortunately. Typically, what happens, and there's something called ADCAR. It's a process for modeling for change. And when you follow through those 5 steps for change management, you increase your success of a project by 80%. But when you go about change without adopting a methodology or an approach or a system or a way of doing it, it's going to wind up failing most of the times, more often than not. And so, as you know,
Yeah.
mentioned, right, when you don't have smart people around, when you do have smart people around, how come they don't know that? And that's my question. That's when I start to question things.
I don't know how you can question it. Like one of the guys said, "Hey, I gave it a C because we don't know if this is going to end up being an F or an A," and you can question it, but we haven't seen the results yet. You see it in sports all the time. Some coach makes a decision. People are like, "This is the worst decision," or they're Super Bowl champions, or they're NHL champions, not in Canada. The NHL champions that are in the U.S. That's a joke, obviously. Um, but we don't know yet. And I'm glad that somebody is making decisions to try to make some awesome changes. He's proposing ideas, and the administration is proposing ideas collectively with the idea of making us better. We can't keep living the way we're living. So we have to try something. I think in the way we're in the place where we're at, it needs to be extreme. And these guys are smart. These guys and girls are smart. So I think they have the backup plans and contingency plans of this and this is we're going to do this, and you just have to trust.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're saying that China's talked to you, when you haven't talked to them, and there's a lack of
From
like,
today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again.
Literally the opposite has come to pass, but not because of a pandemic, because of him. And now that he's in office, Trump, again, can't blame anybody else. He did this. He started the trade war. He imposed a 145% tariff on China, one of our biggest trading
we all
partners.
know this.
And now Trump faces headline after live shot about stressed business owners, stressed out and angry consumers. And even some of his closest allies on Wall Street are publicly sounding the alarm. So now he's desperately trying to create the impression that everything's under control, he's in charge, and that trade war is winding down. Trump telling Time magazine in an interview that the president of China gave him a call. And when he was asked what President Xi said, he said this. We're going to have to quote it and read it to you in its entirety. Quote, "If people want to, well, we all want to make deals. But I am this giant store. It's a giant, beautiful store, and everybody wants to go shopping there. And on behalf of the American people, I own the store and I set prices, and I'll say, if you want to shop here, this is what you have to pay," end quote. Not exactly inspiring, not even an answer to the question. Today, the Chinese government once again denied that any talks have taken place. A spokesperson saying, quote, "China and the U.S. have not held consultations or negotiations on the issue of tariffs. The United States should not confuse the public," end quote. The Trump administration flailing about with no end in sight to Donald Trump's trade war with China.
Yeah, from the vocabulary that she uses, I don't believe a word she says. That's not even a fair, even remotely unbiased.
I agree.
So
What is the
reading,
vocabulary she's using?
so reading what he said is what now? She literally read what Trump said verbatim. So what is it about? So unless you don't trust Trump, then what don't you
No, I was okay.
trust?
I was okay with what he said, but he's flailing about. Yeah, again, I played a lot of sports. I'm big into sports. I've heard coaches say some things, and people are like, "This guy has no idea what he's talking." Nick Sirianni, who just won the Super Bowl, people 8 months ago, they were like calling for his job. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's lost his team. And he's like, nope, we got a plan. We got to, and you would hear people say, he's flailing about, and they win the Super Bowl. It just sounds like people that are complaining.
Who was calling for his job? I didn't hear that. Nobody was calling for Nick Sirianni's job.
Yeah, they were saying he lost the locker room a long time ago. Every year he's gone back in, they were talking about Howie Roseman replacing him. Every year that started again. I've heard it all over sportscasts. I mean, I can look it up if you really. Do you follow it enough that you're saying that never happened?
No, I'm saying who is they? I mean, sports
I've heard it
commentators are
on
always
Sports
going
Talk.
to say stuff. Yeah, sports talk is going to
You're
always
right.
say
They
things to keep
didn't care for his
controversy
team.
going.
A lot of people said he wasn't a player's coach.
Yeah, he had. Remember, he walked through a tunnel and had some incident with a fan, and people were like, "That's the last straw. He's a terrible coach," and he just won the Super Bowl. So again, I hear this girl flailing about, like, I don't trust anything she says in the take. I don't think, instead of giving a good, like,
Did she
unbiased
lie on
opinion,
him? Did she lie on him?
is he flailing about?
Well, I mean, did she lie on him? That's all I'm asking.
Well, a better question is, what about, let's focus in on what Trump said at the beginning. Let's just forget anything that she said and let's focus on what Trump said. What are your thoughts on that?
He said, we're going to immediately lower prices.
The hell no.
Is that what he
That is
said?
not no, baby. That's not what was said. Hold on. Let me rewind it.
Yeah. Play it again. I don't really know. I just heard him say. I wasn't. I'm not.
No,
You
you
didn't.
good.
You didn't
Okay.
listen to what she read.
Nate,
She
come on.
read
You knew
Trump's
Nate.
words.
You knew Nate.
So
Come
you
on.
heard her words, but you didn't hear the words that she read from
I
Trump.
just remember her
Trump
saying,
is
flailing
now in
about.
his first month in office, and we want to know how you think he's doing as president. You guys know how I think he's doing, but Democrats and other critics say that he's going too far
to lower prices like this.
From today,
Administration with rising prices into the White House for a second time. And day in and day out on the campaign trail, he promised to lower prices like this.
from today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again.
Literally the opposite has come to pass, but not because of a pandemic, because of him. And now that he's in office, Trump, again, can't blame anybody else. He did this. He started the trade war. He imposed a 145% tariff on China, one of our biggest trading partners. And now Trump faces headline after headline after live shot about stressed business owners, stressed out and angry consumers. And even some of his closest allies on Wall Street are publicly sounding the alarm. So now he's desperately trying to create the impression that everything's under control, he's in charge, and that trade war is winding down. Trump telling Time magazine in an interview that the president of China gave him a call. And when he was asked what President Xi said, he said this. We're going to have to quote it and read it to you in its entirety. Quote, if people want to, well, we all want to make deals. But I am this giant store. It's a giant, beautiful store, and everybody wants to go shopping there. And on behalf of the American people, I own the store and I set prices, and I'll say, if you want to shop here, this is what you have to pay, end quote. Not exactly inspiring, not even an answer to the question. Today, the Chinese.
What I think.
I think she kind of cut it off, but yeah, from the onset, he basically said that from day one, from the moment he took oath into office, he would drive prices down. And the actions that he's taken have been so chaotic that it's brought uncertainty, it's reduced jobs, and folks are freaking out, and you don't know what's going to happen with your supply chain here within the next couple of weeks, amongst other things. So if you're looking at it from a sports analogy standpoint, I mean, you can't expect to win a Super Bowl if you're just shooting yourself in the foot and turning the ball over every time you have the ball. There's a turnover battle here. You have to at least manage things adequately for some period of time. And I understand you're going to want to try to throw Hail Marys left, right, and center. But now the opponent knows where and what you need to do. So they're going to basically build out that way. And so that's not necessarily going to work. You have to have some deception. You have to have some, game planning and do things in a way that's going to put your team in the best position to win. And right now, I don't see Trump as a coach I would want on my staff, let
Well, then
alone
you're
nowhere
a
near.
Democrat. You're a Democrat, and you would have lost the election.
No, I'm not a Democrat. I said earlier, if you were listening, that in the election in Canada, before I was going to vote for the Liberal Party, I was going to vote Conservative because I wanted change because I'm in Alberta, and Alberta is the most conservative place here in Canada. What I look at is at the candidate. I look at the man. I look at, the way that you're going to run things. If I'd been in the United States, and I'll say this, I looked at Kamala, I looked at Trump. I would have casted my vote for Trump. I will be on record and I will say that. But now looking back, I just thank God that I'm in Canada because our candidates were heads and shoulders above better than what your candidates have been in the United States. And that's usually not the case, but it is the case in this kind of run and over the past year. These two candidates were horrible. And I don't know if Kamala had basically the driver's seat. I think things would be a little bit more settled, but I don't think she would have the respect from any of the world leaders globally. So who knows? There's a domino effect there. So I'll be objective. I can be objective. Just don't basically say, "Oh, you're a Democrat conservative." No, I'm a centrist. I want to see who the best candidate is to actually get the job done right. I don't care what playbook you run, as long as your strategy makes sense.
And they have to explain every move to you. I mean, this is the first president where like everybody expects everything he does. They come and tell the game plan ahead of time. No other president has had to explain himself more than Donald Trump. I mean, and he's not. He's not going to explain himself.
Well, he doesn't know what he's doing, though. I
That's
mean,
what
come
you
on now. We
think. That's
gotta.
what you think.
No, he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, you don't make decisions, take back your decisions. A lot of the American people do all these different things. If you're going to put the tariffs in place, stand behind the tariffs. People shouldn't have to wake you up in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, you got to fix this thing because the markets are going to crash." People shouldn't have to do that to you. What it is the fact that he doesn't have an established, since y'all want to use sports, he doesn't have an established working playbook. So what he's doing is he's throwing shit at the wall. He's throwing trick plays out there. He's doing all these different things, and none of it is working. We can't. We're going to
He
give him
said
credit
it's
for
only been
trying.
100 days.
So, but
He
but but,
trying to
but let
do
us
it,
let us
but
understand.
he set these expectations up though. Why
He
the
did
reason
that.
why? Yeah, right, Carl. Like, didn't he say I'm doing this on day one and I'm doing this? Like,
And we all
hello,
feel pretty good. We feel good. Like we're glad.
who is we?
The people that voted for him, again, I said this 20 minutes
Some
ago.
of you are not okay.
Well, that's because, oh, shoot, they lost a lot of money in their stocks. Like we knew it was going to happen. You can
Y'all
read
can't be.
people's
This can't be
websites.
real.
You can read. Go look at
Can't
X
be real.
profiles that talk
So
about
you
this
knew
a
he
year
was
ago.
gonna crash the market. You knew that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, y'all
You
knew he
guys
was
are
gonna crash it. Oh,
you
okay.
guys are surprised at this? We
So when it
knew.
started
We
crashing,
knew.
what did he do? Did he let it
We
continue to
knew.
crash, or did he stop the
We
bleeding and try to bring it back?
You tell me. So you're telling me you can't find anybody 6 months ago that's saying, "Hey, our economy is in a terrible place, and we're headed to,
So
this is
here's the
going to
thing.
crash." And
Here's the thing.
especially
What
when
was
Trump. Hold
bad
on, hold
about
on,
the
hold on,
economy?
hold on.
What was bad about
Especially
it?
the jobs. You guys heard about our jobs. Like
What were the
40%,
what were the job
40
numbers?
40% of our job numbers were propped up by government jobs. And then every single time the jobs report came out, from March 2021 until Biden left office, the job numbers were, it was reduced. So it came out, oh, we've added 258,000 jobs. And then 2 months later it was actually reduced every single month. That's the first time in any presidency that every single month the job numbers came out. They were announced. They were awesome. And then nobody discussed 2 months later that actually
So what was the unemployment rate when
Everyone will have a number
Biden left
settled.
office? What was the unemployment rate? And you do remember the you do
I
remember
don't
the
know.
New Deal now,
That was
where
just
FDR
100
said
days
that.
ago. That was just 100
Yeah,
days
you
ago.
do remember the New Deal programs
So
that got us out of depression as a government being the employer of last resort. So you can't act like government jobs are bad jobs when it's actually a job.
hey, I worked a
So
government job. I'm not anymore, but I
absolutely,
didn't say government
great
job was a
benefits,
bad
right?
job. I'm just saying it was propped up by a lot of government jobs that weren't doing a lot of work. That's why they brought in Doge to take a look at that and
Who
see
wasn't
where we're
doing a lot of work?
wasting.
So tell me who wasn't doing a lot of work.
I haven't studied it, but obviously Doge coming in and identifying all these different areas that clearly weren't getting a return on their bet. We're spending $42 million here in this government agency. So they cut their job. There was no benefit to it. There was no return on their investment. Like that's public knowledge too. That's not like a big
So it's a return
surprise.
on the investment. So hiring an employee is an
Is
investment,
this
and you're saying
another
they didn't get a
question?
return on it.
Is this another question? Is there a point to the questioning?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to because he's throwing a lot of stuff out there, and he doesn't even
Right.
know where he's
So
getting it
so
from.
he already put himself in a corner. Go ahead and move in.
Hey, somebody needs to mic up because she's echoing.
It doesn't matter, man. The MAGAs will never step down.
1 second,
It
Chris.
doesn't
One
matter what it
second,
is.
Chris. 1 second. It's on Carlos.
Yeah, so all I'm asking him is just simple questions about the.
What happened?
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're
we can hear
echoing
you now.
really bad. Somebody needs to mic up.
Go ahead, Carlos. Are there any co-hosts that can unmute the stage?
Here. I'm trying. It keeps
Who
going back.
keeps
I don't know
doing
what's
that?
great.
How about now?
So somebody
Is it
keeps
working?
muting them.
Somebody's
Yeah, is
probably
that a
glitching.
glitch?
It's a
Everybody
glitch.
stop and only one person do it.
Okay, I think we're good, right?
I
Okay,
think it's
we're
okay
fine.
now.
We're fine.
It's okay
Y'all,
now.
Jesus Christ. Do y'all handle crisis in your personal life? Carlos, you want to finish your point?
Somebody still needs to mic up because you're
Is he
getting
even here?
echoes.
It's
So,
you. You need to mic up.
I'm mic'd up.
no, mute your mic.
Mute your mic.
I know what the fuck I'm doing. Shut the fuck up.
You don't wait. Wait now. Hold on. You
Hello?
don't.
Whoa.
That's not necessary.
It is because I'm been trying to get
No.
everybody to get off the mic. So
But you're the
chatting,
only one on mic. Be quiet.
All right. Am I still echoing?
yes.
No echo. No echo,
An
chat.
echo.
No
We
echo,
don't.
chat.
We
Scooby,
don't
are
hear
you
Stove,
it.
on?
Stove, that's your phone. That's your
Yeah.
phone, huh?
Scooby, are you on chat? The other platform too, because that might be doing it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on
that.
the
But
other
yeah,
No,
one.
that's.
it's
We're
me
not gonna
over here.
troubleshoot.
Scooby's tripping.
That's your
Okay,
phone.
sorry.
No, that's okay. We troubleshoot offline. Put it in check. Carlos, are you there? Is the stage unmuted or is it still muted?
I
No,
think
it's
he
not muted. I
left.
can hear you.
I had to leave and come back chat, so I can't do anything. And Scooby, do not talk to chat like that, sir.
No,
Please.
when you're telling me to
That's
mute
not
up and
okay.
I'm muting up.
I
And now
love
I
me
can't
some
hear
Tammy.
Scooby, so I don't know what's
That
going
was
on.
that was the
Cat,
Lord.
what's wrong? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
We're good, babe. I think we're good. He was saying I was
Okay.
echoing. but we had a little glitch. CH, are y'all still there?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear
we
you.
is.
Clubhouse.
Yes, we're here. We can hear you.
There's only 3 people over there, Chad. I don't know if any of them are speaking.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you hear us?
I didn't see
Chat.
Carlos over there.
Can you guys hear us?
I don't see Jonathan's mic open. I
Chat.
don't even know if it's streaming.
Chat.
Okay. Can somebody
Hello.
take over? Let me see what's going on.
It was
I
just
don't think they
playing
can
when I
hear us over
left
there.
out the room. That was like a minute ago.
We hear y'all.
Scooby's tripping.
Thank you, Patty. I think that was Patty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Christy Chatham.
The hell's that? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you, Tyson. I don't know about Chatter.
Weird. This shit's weird. I don't think they could hear us. What's up, Sheree?
What I see is Democrats and Republicans aren't going to agree.
I don't know what's going on.
That was cold.
This is Debate the News podcast. Having some technical difficulties, but we'll be there in a minute.
There are fucking technical difficulties. Someone's fucking with the stage.
There's only 3 people over there, 3 or 4 people over there.
Talking about over here.
We can hear you guys. Can you hear us?
I would have called him.
Let's get to the topic,
It's
guys. Y'all talk
playing.
about the topic.
This
We're
shit's
figuring out on
funny.
the back end. Let's get back to the topic.
Is there any host or co-host moderating this room, or you guys just winging it?
No, they were earlier, but something happened to the stage, and so chat on the back end trying to figure it out now.
Man, there's not a goddamn thing happening to the goddamn stage, man.
Hey, what is all this swearing
It's
tonight?
voodoo.
Well, Trump gets a D for me, maybe a C minus. As far as my grade for him. But I think that he effed around and found out. That article though in the Atlantic, I think it was in the Atlantic. I don't know if y'all read it. But he said that I don't want to misquote him, so let me go find the quote. But he said something about him being in charge of America and the world. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, that was said earlier.
Uh,
And I heard he told Canadians to vote for him. Well, who the hell does this guy think he
who?
is?
No, he didn't. What?
Yeah, because we're having elections today. And he's like, oh, make Canada, whatever, the 50, whatever state, and vote for him. It's like, get out of our elections. He's interfering in our elections.
Yeah, I was saying to vote for Polyev, the conservative leader. Vote for the guy that's going to reduce your taxes, that's going to build up your military, and that's going to basically work with me to basically turn Canada into the beautiful 51st state. You know, and then he went on about the borders and how beautiful it would be and how he's subsidizing Canada. So ever since he basically talked that crap about Canada, about annexing Canada, the conservatives were actually in the lead. We were tired of the liberals, but because we associate the conservative party with the Republican Party across the board, and I was going to vote conservative, but at the end of the day, I looked at the man, I looked at the situation, I said, look, I think we're going to have to stick with the liberals. So he screwed the election, screwed the pooch. If I was a conservative leader in Canada, or any conservative for that matter, I'd lose my shit on Trump because he meddled in our elections and he fucked shit up from the jump.
Yeah, we had the highest. I did a conference this weekend encouraging women to vote, and we had the highest advanced turnout. The way that people are paranoid about conservatives taking over, and that we've never had so many people do early voting. So it's like your thing is influencing our voting.
Just wait for these midterms in the U.S.
So what is so Braden? Hang tight, real quick. That's where I was going. What do we think if he was able to influence the elections in Canada? What does the midterm look like? What do you think, Braden?
So
where we have not seen the results here in the US of these tariffs, right? It's an 8-week cycle from for a typical good to get from China to the US, which is about in probably 2 weeks from when he first started effing around with this. And right now, the ships are leaving China, and all the reports are saying these ships are 40% full. Do you remember what it felt like when the shelves were empty during the pandemic? It's literally like this man has effed it up not once, but twice. And it's gonna like people are gonna that's gonna regurgitate so much trauma from the American public. And it's gonna be I would not be surprised. I'll say this. I would not be surprised if the midterms were a flipperoonie like we've never seen before.
Oh, not a blue wave. Okay.
No,
Um.
it'll be a blue wave. That's what I mean.
Mhm.
Like buckle up, Buttercup. You know.
Right? Like, okay, so Braden is predicting a blue wave. Um, what anyone else, does anyone disagree with him?
I do
I
because
don't
I know they
disagree.
got. It's been said that shipping containers are all backed up on the China docks. They're not being shipped. Things are not being shipped.
That's what I just said.
So if they're not being shipped, I mean, let's look at the simple equation. I mean, we all took some kind of basic economics in school. Supply versus demand. Now, Braden said there were 40% full. Whatever the situation is, the shelves are going to be empty. What's going to happen when you basically go to the store and you try to go get a product or a good, but there's less of it? What's going to happen to the price of it?
Prices are going to go up.
Exponentially, right? And that's the issue, is that China runs a government that is more of a dictatorship. They don't need to basically worry about midterms. They don't need to worry about 4 years. They can ride this out, and they'll just, because they have the kind of, the population and history and culture that they have. Sure, the younger generation is, rebelling somewhat, but China's still a communist country, so they'll basically keep things on the rein, and they'll just ride it out, and they'll just really try to cripple the American economy. I mean, this is a very dangerous game. I think that America is basically playing, and I'm really kind of surprised by Chat because you're giving them a C or a C or D minus, and I want to try to figure out what has he done well to warrant a passing grade, because this is a passing grade now. I passed on a D in school. High school I went through a D phase, but I passed. I made it through high school. So what warrants that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so this I can appreciate the fact that he is doing something different. What we've seen is years upon years of people accepting what's been done before. Even though their presidential platforms or whatever may be a little different, little to nothing changes. And so I appreciate the fact, because I'm that kind of person, right? Like I come into a situation, I'm trying to figure out how can we do things differently. Because if it was working, if it was really working, we wouldn't be as far as like a trade deficit or even our debt. Let's go with our debt. We wouldn't be this bad. We wouldn't be
But
this much in debt. And so
is
my
it
thing is,
different? Isn't it just like Hitler's playbook and a lot of dictators' playbook? Is it really different?
well, I'm talking about his approach to.
Yeah, so am I.
Okay, well, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, you're saying it's different, but I'm saying it's a dictator's playbook. Everything he's done and is doing is what someone does to prepare for a dictatorship in a country. So what it might look new, brand new in America because America's known to be this democratic country, free speech and human rights. And it looks different because it's not something that you guys usually do because it's more looking like a dictatorship. So I'm saying To you all, it might look different, but it's really just a playbook for a lot of countries that has gone through this already in history. When you're preparing for someone to be a dictator or a king.
Yeah, so you
But if you,
probably have in mind his decisions that you're thinking about, right? I'm speaking of his approach to some certain things in particular, right? So I was a former federal employee, right? Like I don't agree with him getting rid of the boots on the ground per se and not looking at the leadership, but I do agree with there needs to be a shakeup. As a veteran, the last time he was in office and even now, we're able to get care outside of the VA system more than we were under Biden, right? If like under Biden, we had to wait a while for an appointment. Under Trump, if there was an appointment that was able to be made in 30 days, then they allowed you to go to a civilian specialist or doctor. So like I'm looking at specific things that impact me per se, why I'm saying what I'm saying. Now understand, I said a D. I don't know why you hearing an A, but I said a show enough D. Okay. Listen, I I didn't get him an A or a B. I said a D, maybe a C minus, just because it is actually causing people. It's a byproduct of his decisions. We are seeing the executive branch being stretched, but what we are also seeing is the judicial branch at work. We are seeing elected officials that are working for their vote. They are speaking for the electorate where they didn't have to, where they just got voted into office and who cared what they did. Like the byproducts and the things that he's doing by turning things on its head is actually unveiling a lot and it's causing people to pivot or to reassess the status quo. So that's why he gets a D for me or a C minus, because even though he those weren't his intended actions, those actions still caused America to dig deep within ourselves and to say what type of America we want to have.
And
Yeah, I
even
wasn't saying you gave him an A or anything like that. Or like I wasn't talking about that. I'm just saying that what it still shows, even I understand what you're saying, how it benefits in certain areas and you agree with certain things he does. I'm saying the way he goes about it though is how a dictator goes about it, because there's ways to make change and go through it the legal way, the proper way, procedures, and let departments analyze, investigate, and see if this works versus that work. But skipping the line and just doing what you do as a leader and skipping and not trying to work together with others is dictatorship behavior, which has been proven in the past with other leaders. That's all I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's not getting certain things done or not done or whatever. It's how he's going about it is dictatorship-ish. So it's really just a playbook that other people have seen before and only benefits a certain amount of people, specifics, right?
But
Not the all.
but like the fact that you don't think Americans don't know what a dictatorship is crazy.
I never said that either. I'm
Because we
saying you
because
said he's
we
doing
do.
something
That's
different.
why you're seeing
No, I'm just going by
marches and
your words.
protests and
I never said that
sit-ins
though. I didn't
and
talk about
all of
America.
that.
I just talked about you, chat. So how am
You
I
said,
talking about America?
well, I definitely know what it is. I don't know why I wouldn't know. I serve my
No,
country.
you're not listening to what I'm saying, though. You said he liked certain things he did because it was different. And I said, is it really different, though? That's what I led with.
It is different because we are a democracy. It is different.
Exactly. So
What about that wasn't correct? It is different.
no,
certainly
but what
not
I'm
some.
saying
It's
is
not
not
certainly not
different because it's
something.
been done before in history. That's what I am trying to say. That's what, so to me, it's like, no, it's somebody else's playbook. That's what I use those exact words. It's
It's
different
just
to
not
America,
something.
but it's nothing new.
Well, make Canada the 51st state because I'm sick of it. So I think we need to take over Canada because I'm tired.
It's just not something that Americans are have experienced. It
But,
Exactly.
but y'all, but see, this
this
is the thing. Y'all keep, the moment we tell y'all as Canadians what y'all should be doing, y'all get pissed off and y'all start whining.
But I never said what you guys should
No, no,
be
I'm
doing.
not.
What are
Don't
you?
take it personal. I'm
No, but I
making a
think you're twisting
statement.
my
I'm
words.
responding
So
to what
we're
he
gonna.
said. Someone
Okay,
just spoke after you.
but he's
So
not
I'm
Canadian.
responding to
I'm
what
only
he
Canadian.
said. So if you were listening, he said Americans don't know. Y'all need to talk about y'all.
I'm an American, but I'm saying
Exactly.
Americans, we
Talk
Americans.
about we gotta, but they talk about Canada. We talk about America. Is my point. A lot
Okay.
of people are saying things about and are not benefactors of what you're talking about. You just
I'm
not, and y'all get pissy the moment somebody tell Canada about something. Then y'all get all and y'all get y'all panties in a bunch.
I don't know where this
Okay,
all y'all.
but
I don't
y'all
even
got
come
a
on the app.
gazillion
I don't
things
even
to say about America.
I don't even come on the app that often for no y'all this and y'all
Why
that.
are you
Like
why? But y'all is more than one person, honey. If it's not
no, but I'm
you, it's
saying I'm
other
the only
people.
Canadian chat. The guy said he's American. He just said that.
I
I'm
know
Canadian.
that. What is happening? I'm
I'm
not just
Canadian.
talking to you. Hello.
Okay, but I thought we were having a
It's
conversation.
like
All right, I'll
it's
leave it
like
alone then.
5 different Canadians in here.
I thought we were having conversation because I'm the one that brought it up. But okay,
But Theory also said something too. You didn't hear what he said.
and he's American. That's what I said.
No, I'm
Braden is
Canadian.
American. Theory is not.
I'm Canadian. I'm in Calgary, dance hall.
Right.
Oh, I don't know you guys. I don't come here often, so
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Well, shoot me a follow, man. You know us Canadians need to stick together, so I
Yeah,
got you.
y'all need to have a meeting.
Oh yeah, we will. We'll probably start a Canadian room at some point
Yeah, yeah,
when
have a
there's enough
meeting.
of us. But hey, chat. I just want to ask you this, right? Because I love the points that you're making. Now, in terms of the 51st state, right? Again, like I said earlier, we have a bigger landmass than America. We have 10 provinces, 3 territories. You got North and South Carolina. You've got North and South Dakota. Our provinces are so big that we could easily split them up into 2 or 3 states because we have that much landmass. But our country, as you kind of saw tonight, we voted liberal. So if you were to engulf us, you wouldn't bring us in as a 51st state. There would be no way we would come in as a 51st state. We would come in as 23 states.
Absolutely.
And if we
No,
come
no,
in as
I
23,
agree. I was just joking.
no,
But
no, okay,
I
that's
do
good.
believe
Yeah,
like yeah, but like the thing is that's one thing that I don't agree with. That the relationship between Canada and America, to me, it's sacred. Like if I looked at and I actually researched this, how much Canada is intertwined, and I'm in Texas, I'm in Houston or near Houston. I looked at how intertwined Canada is into our economies in our states. It like interwoven into our state economics. Forget federal, state wise. And like, why would you want to change that? Like that's one of the things that pisses me off is there are standing relationships that he could nurture, that he could rather than making you guys an enemy, how can we make this relationship better? But we are in, and I'm sorry, our president is red pill. Why is he the victim? Why is America the perpetual victim? How?
I
I
think
don't
there's
agree with that.
I think that Trump has like this like inherent need to like self-sabotage some, and I don't, that's the part that I can't wrap my head around. Like you had an economy that was recovering from the pandemic at record rate, outpacing everybody else in the world, and even he's crashing it. And even if you look at the pandemic, like literally like presidents love war that makes them look good. And like Trump had this war, and all he had to do was be like, as Americans, we're going to stand together and do all this. And like he just couldn't fight the urge, but blow it all up. And like it cost him the election. If he had, like he has this like just need to self sabotage because it's an easy way to put yourself in the center of the argument, and it just it just I don't get it.
and that's the point that I basically want to support is that chat. You're you're a veteran, and thank you for your service. Even though I'm not American, I thank all of our service members because Canada and the United States are in essence partners. If you guys go down, we'll send whatever little putt troops we've got over here to
Oh no,
basically go help
y'all
out.
served with us.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yes.
So we'll
Hmm.
send whatever we've got. So I appreciate that. But the thing is, I'm looking at it from a strategic standpoint. I'm a chess player. I love to play chess. I love to look at things but from a strategic standpoint. If I'm playing ball or I'm doing whatever, I want to look at the strategic aspect of it. And this is what frustrates me is that when I look at Trump and the way that he's basically doing things, I'm going to throw it in a military term. If you have a territory or if you're trying to basically go into an environment that's not hostile and you're making it hostile just because you're deciding that, hey, I want to make it hostile and I want to take it over and I'm just going to basically send the troops and you guys go figure out what's going on without having an understanding of the lay of the land and the impact that it's going to have, that's a bad general. So I'm very surprised that you're giving it a C minus D, which is a passing grade, right? It's not an A or whatever, but it's a C or D. When in essence, he's not even doing his homework. He's not even looking down the path. He's not even examining how this is going to impact things. He's just saying, "Hey, I want this. Let's go get it." And yeah, we'll just do it by any means necessary. Oops, that's not working. And screw all of the personnel and the troops that have basically been lost as a process. That's what he's doing right now to me. I'll land with that.
I think part of the reason why is because I served my country. Is he is commander in chief. So I don't want us to fail. If he fails, we fail. Like my view is going to be a little different because I did serve. I don't want him to fail. I don't. I didn't vote for him. I've never voted for him. And I actually worked for his administration or in his administration in ethics. I worked like literally for half of 2 years Obama, 2 years of Trump. Literally did. But if he fails, we fail. And so I can't, and I'm a Republican, right? So I'm looking at it in a way that I don't want to see him fail. And that's why he gets the little grace that he is getting because I don't want him to fail. I want him to succeed. He's
I
literally,
appreciate that.
you know what I'm saying? So that's why
That's
I
a
say
good
what I say.
perspective. Thank you for sharing that, chat, because I was a little
Mhm.
confused too, but that makes sense because at the end of the day, even with our elections, whoever wins, they're my boss too, right? Because I'm a federal worker. So I understand, especially if I serve the country and I'm patriotic and I'm usually, and we know the conservative that you mean too, the one that believe you don't cheat on your wife and you take care of your family, like the
That
real
part,
value. Yeah,
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I totally understand where you're coming from now. That makes a lot of sense. It's just for us to open up our minds a little bit and understand your perspective. But thank you for sharing that because I totally get it.
Now I'm going to
I
continue on. I'm going
appreciate
to ask
that.
one. I'm going to ask one more question, and I love that you two are just vibing that way, because I'm just going to prod a little bit more here. Now your response as to the C minus or the D seems to me like it's more based on emotive, pride, wanting, hope, faith, that kind of thing, right? But if you were to just kind of switch away from the hot water and turn on the cold one, meaning that let's look at it purely from a logical standpoint, right? Do you think, based on the insight that we have so far, because when you make a change, you don't have to see too far down the road to kind of see, hey, this is not going well at all. We may need to just rethink this whole strategy. Now, if you were to give a grade based on the logic and the how he's executed this and what the state of the country is, the state of the businesses, federal workers, tourism industry, manufacturing, even the stock market, so on and so forth, and all of the stuff that's basically going on, except for immigration. But, even that's been basically done a little bit harshly, right? What would you give him in terms of that grade, purely from a logical standpoint?
A D.
You would still give him a D, so he
Yeah.
still has a passing grade. Okay, from a
Yeah.
general
And then
standpoint.
I think because so in college, a D does not count towards your degree. You still got to retake the class, even though you know the material. So there's that. But he gets a D, and I can take all the other things away, right? The patriotism and all of that, but he gets that versus a C minus because he is shaking up the status quo. I've worked for the federal government. I've worked in ethics. I've worked at the VA, and so three areas of the government. No, four, because I work for the Census Bureau. So three different agencies, four different areas of the government, and everything is the same. The bureaucracy, processes, all of that is the same. No one shakes up anything. No one asks questions. You got people that have, if I just take if I take that into consideration, so I can appreciate that, right? The other thing is, and not in a way to give him an A, I'm just saying, even the question of can we do something about this, to me gets a D. Because if he did nothing, that would be an F. An F would be whatever has been happening is working and we're not changing the thing. And we know that's not true. That would be an F. But to come in and ask a question or to come in and say, let's try something different. That's why he gets a D. Because what people don't understand is that DC politic, that DC rhetoric, that DC bureaucracy hasn't moved the needle significantly. It's been the same things. How many times black people got to ask for reparations? Hmm. How many times do veterans have to ask to be seen less than 30 days out? How many times do people have to ask for the same things that Democrats say they're doing? They've been asking for the same shit. So, just actually coming into it and saying, let's see if we can do something differently gets a D, but it's barely passing.
And I give him a C plus. I'm a Republican too. So,
But why would you give him a C plus? What's the performance metric given all of the chaos that
well,
justifies getting a C plus?
okay, tariffs, besides tariffs, tariffs are big, I get that. But the we won't know the resolution of if it's a positive or good or bad thing until down the road, maybe a year or two. Might take some time. But he told us he was going to downsize the government. He has done that. He's uh, made education system go down to the state level. They're still going to be funded, but it's going to be handled at a state level. He's did this immigration thing that's been great that he said he was going to do, and that's getting hold right now. It's we got what 94% of the people not coming across the border no more, and we're living a little safer. And he's working on getting rid of wasteful spending in the government. So besides the tariff society, I think he's done an outstanding job.
Okay, what about? Let me ask you this because you brought up a few good points, and I appreciate that. Now, if I look at Elon Musk and that whole thing. Is Elon out now? What is the situation? Because if there's one thing that's undeniable, Elon is a microcosm of what's basically happened to the business community. Elon put his neck out. He basically said, I'm going to be part of this administration. I'm going to basically help out in every which way that I can. But now his stock and his brand is down the toilet, and there's a multitude of businesses which America is known for that are suffering as a result of the tariffs. And when you're looking at the job losses from a federal standpoint, and you kind of start seeing the trend taking place that, hey, these companies are going to start doing some layoffs too. Now you're going to have the cost of living. Are you still going to feel that way about a C plus? And also, where is Elon? Can anyone jump in with where Elon is, and is
Elon's
he
out
winning
for
right
right
now?
now. Elon's out for right now, from what I understand. He's going to tend back to his businesses. I don't know. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or not, but I know that's the start. He had to get back there and get going again. But I just hope it gets better.
Elon benefited from this whole thing because Tesla is just taking a bath from a brand standpoint. People are walking around and basically putting Toyota stickers on the back of their cyber trucks, just because they're like
Right.
embarrassed of driving, Teslas. Like that brand is ruined right now and taking a massive bath. And if there's anything that continues down this path with the Trump administration, he's going to be forever linked, and that company is going to feel the impacts of it for years to come. Was it worth it for that?
I mean, I don't really follow his business, you know, business ventures, all that and how he's doing. But he's just like any other business. He's going to have to get back there and adapt and find other ways to get things done. And he made a product that especially the truck that people don't particularly care for. And he's suffering, and the cars are having some difficulties, and he's suffering from that. So those are his problems. I'm not going to worry about that. I mean, what I got my own shit I got to worry about.
No, that's fair. But then again, it's a microcosm of the business. I always like to look at the bigger picture, right? Because if it's one company, now the other companies, Apple is a great story as well now because of the tariffs. Trump cut off the electronics kind of component, but a lot of uncertainty going on with Apple. They said that if they were to move 10% of the production from China to America, the phone would go up from $800, $900, whatever it is now, to about $3,000 a retail in order to
Yeah, I
basically
heard
make it
that.
in America.
People are just going to have to do without, or they're going to have to, get a different type of phone. I mean,
And and again,
that's the point of us having to tighten our pocketbook up in the way we do business. I mean,
but
that's
Apple is a great brand. It's a great American brand, right? And because of that, now there's a lot of people that are basically part of the design team that work in the corporate segment, marketing, sales, retail locations, so on and so forth. That's going to harm that brand. So isn't the objective is to protect American industries from a retail and consumer standpoint, and kind of let China do what it basically does in terms of manufacturing while you kind of look at alternatives? I just feel like this whole thing is
but
poorly executed.
that ain't gold. Is gold's to bring manufacturing back.
But if you bring manufacturing back and the phones are 3,000, they're more than a laptop. They're already more than a laptop, but they're exponentially more than a laptop. It's not sustainable. So at some point, people have to look at the domino effect and make educated decisions in terms of, is it worth it? Is it worth the squeeze? Is it worth the pain? Is it worth the aggravation? Is it going to destroy our companies or industries? And then when you go down to the manufacturers, the automobile manufacturers, they have to bring parts in from different countries, from Canada, from Mexico, and parts have to go back and forth. Now these cars are getting tariff. Now who's going to pay for the price of these vehicles? It's going to be you guys, right?
Let me tell you. Looking down the road, and I'm 60 years old, so I've seen a lot in my time. And there's times I've been through recessions where I've had to tighten up and not buy products and this or that. But looking down the road, if we don't change things, we're going to hand China the power in the next 10, 15 years. And that's just economically. And by 2050, they're going to, at the rate we're going, they're going to be the military power. Uh, so he had to shake things up. I mean, because we got people like on wasted money in the U.S. If you just look at it, what is it, USADA? U.S. I don't know. Wasteful spending is just ridiculous at the governmental level, and it needs to be controlled. And tariffs are just one avenue of approach that needs to be fixed. These trade imbalances with all these countries. It's more than that. It's about how we're employing people in this country. The government can't be the primary employment of people in this country. And we can't be sending all our money overseas to support all these other countries when we're sitting there running our debt up every year. It's just a continued uh, demise of our country, just handing it to China at the rate we're going. So he had to do something, and this is what he's done. So you can understand, as an American, I'm a vet like Chad is. You know, I got those same feelings about my president. I'm going to support him and hope he's doing the right thing and is successful. But the bottom line is, at the rate we're going, we needed to change, and this is a change we're going to have to overcome.
Scooby, what do you have against government workers? Like, how do you guys expect people to get
Not
services?
against,
And
not
hold on,
against.
let me just finish what I'm saying. How do you expect to get services, to get help, to get things if you want to cut government workers? So you want a lot of me. I find certain things. Say if I was a government worker that was working the front desk, by you saying I don't need five more of the employees in that same office, you're going to make me work like a slave. I'm going to have to triple my work longer hours, not be able to spend time with my family. You're asking to reduce things that were already backlogged on. Why you want to, like, that doesn't make any sense.
You know, we've been through this. We go through cut downs in the military when I was in the military, and
Yeah, but you need services. How are we going
yeah,
to help get people on welfare,
yeah, but we
people to eat, if you're going to make it more backlog?
it's just going to be that time. People are going to have to find other jobs.
So it will be
Government,
slavery days. The
the
person working as a
the
government worker be
government.
slaving. You guys will be hungry and homeless.
Well,
So everybody will
we
suffer back
already
in the days.
realize that AIs and computers and robots are going to take over the job market, and we're going to have a problem.
AI can't do all government jobs. They can't do certain
But we're going to have
adjudication.
a displacement in people. There's not going to be enough jobs
Okay, you keep you
for the
go keep
people.
going.
I mean, that's just the way it's headed. It's been heading that way for the last
So why
30
don't I
years.
let it happen naturally instead of firing people? Why don't you guys build those robots, build those AIs, and let the jobs slowly just disappear instead of forcing people out now before you even built anything?
Well, that's not a feasible option either. And I
No,
get,
I'm just playing Scooby Doo land
no,
with him.
no, no, I know what you're saying, but if you want to look at it from a logical standpoint here, because I get what Scooby's basically saying, and the main thing is, I'm looking at this and I'm like, look, I've never had an issue with what the objective is. Even as a Canadian, if you want to make America first, okay, oh, great. Okay, and we should make Canada first, and we should be more entrepreneurial and a little bit more capitalistic as opposed to socialist. I think that some of the shit that's going on in our country in terms of our energy and stuff that I've learned since those tariffs, it doesn't make sense. We need to, enterprise a little bit more in Canada. So I'm not going to blame America for wanting to basically have more of a first, self-serving approach. And like Scooby said, hey, China is a powerhouse and they need to basically be dealt with. What my issue is, this is a barrel shotgun, let's shoot them up in the sky and see what bullets basically fall down and don't hit us kind of approach. It's the wild, wild west, and Trump is just, trying to basically throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And it's just primitive. It's actually quite disappointing because I used to like The Apprentice. I actually do like the show still. Probably if they were playing around, they should bring it back with somebody that's actually has some business acumen because Trump is just not executing this properly, and that's why he gets that grade, because he's walking into the dark hoping that there's going to be light. And I'm telling you, the way that he's approaching this, the metrics are going to be horrific. And Scooby, you might be sitting on a nice little retirement kind of like pension or whatever the situation is, but there's a whole generation of people that are waiting or that are struggling or that are barely making it. And that's going to be the contingent of your American citizens that are going to be suffering because of this. And you make a great point with AI as well. But I think the way to go is your infrastructure. Let's move the jobs to infrastructure because that needs to be redone. That needs to be fixed up. Excuse me, and you need to have some better strategies surrounding that, because you can't agree with me that the strategy and the way that he's implementing that is in the best interest of the country, and the way that he basically is executing this is not what he basically stated in the campaign. And where he's losing face is he's bullshitting individuals by saying, oh, we've got deals sitting and we're talking with China. when in fact China is saying no, we're not talking. So there's a loss of credibility there. So this is a gong show, and I want you to kind of look at that component and give me your thoughts on that specific approach, just the how he's doing it. Is it the best approach? Is it the right way?
See, isn't this part of the problem, you think? You're asking an average American how they think about incredibly complex um, undertakings like an international trade war or the substantiation of the US economy or market manipulation. And this is actually what the founding fathers talked about, right? They did not want the average American with the ability to vote because they said that people would make emotional and misinformed decisions. And that's essentially what's going on. Like, how many people have heard of Perkins Coie, which is basically a firm that has argued for legislation and, may have been instrumental using some attorneys when people were having lawsuits against Donald Trump. How many Americans are aware that Donald Trump is literally going after a lot of these law firms because he's punishing them for what he feels is being too woke and doing DEI consulting and having their attorneys wage lawsuits? So, what he's doing is removing their ability to basically do their job by threatening their security clearances, right? But would someone who is in love with Donald Trump as a person, as a president, or a fan of The Apprentice be able to properly gauge how damaging that is to the judiciary? Or a president tweeting that a judge, some of whom he appointed, needs to be fired or terminated? So I don't understand. But the more that we have these conversations is how I understand, as my grandfather used to tell me, that the masses are inherently stupid. They are supporting and substantiating things that they have no idea about, such as Elon Musk is no longer at Doge. He's still a part of Doge. If you listen to his earnings call with Tesla, which is the last time he spoke about this a few days ago, he said that he was going to cut down his time to about 2 days a week. He didn't say he was leaving Doge. The rampant misinformation and miseducation of the average American is already our downfall. Why would we bring manufacturing back here when we don't possess simple intelligence enough to even understand that it's not going to work? That the fact that we moved on from manufacturing here in the United States because it didn't bring us money to make us the number one GDP, and that going back 50 or 75 years is literally going to put us even lower than China, if that is a concern. How come people don't understand this? You don't move backwards in order to move forwards. But it sounds really good to have someone tell you sound bites that, oh, we need to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Why did it leave in the first place? Right? So I don't, oh my God. This is why we've already lost. It's, it's, it's people are making financial decisions based upon emotions. And how is someone getting employed in a rural county in Alabama, $16 an hour to put tires together, going to change your bottom line? It's not. It isn't. It doesn't impact it now. But you know what impacts it now? The fact that that same tire company can get it done for $1.50 a day in China so that you can pay $90 for a tire. Because guess what? If that tire was $200 or $300, you couldn't afford it. So you should be grateful that that tire company is manufacturing in Vietnam. You know why? Because you couldn't afford it otherwise. You don't even understand that this entire system, you're a beneficiary of it. Because you don't own shares in these companies. You're not an investor. You're not a fundraiser. You're not wealthy. How do you benefit? Because you have access to cheap goods and services. But you want to take that away. And now you want to be the American sacrifice for companies like Goodyear and Exxon and Trump Inc.
Don't forget that pollution and that bad
Oh,
water
and of
that come
course,
along.
the pollution and the bad water. Yes, let's poison these poor sons of bitches who have to work around these factories, because you know what these factories do to the local water systems? Do you know what happens when we allow government to roll back regulations for the sake of making money, as if it's ever made a difference for you and your family? Right. You know what happens? You start having kids born with 3 legs. Yeah, let's roll back even more regulations. Let's go back 50 and 100 years. Yeah, let's just like Florida. Let's let 14-year-olds work overnight shifts in factories like they used to do in the 1900s. Was that when America was great? Is that what you want to do? You want American workers to replace the Chinese workers? You want to work 12-hour shifts and sleep on the factory floor so that you can meet deadlines and get an extra 50 cents an hour bonus? Really? And then you're still going to have to pay 3 times as much for that product. So, yeah. Sometimes I want Donald Trump to do every single thing that he said he was going to do. I really would love to see that. But then I know that, you know what? In 15 years, that going to means that there's going to be more bread lines than we had in the Great Depression. The Great Depression lasted 10 years. Why not have a Great Depression that lasts 20 years? All because some multi-billionaire who never manufactured a product a day in his life in the United States now tells you all of a sudden that he knows about cutting down spending. Oh, and of course, Elon Musk, who's just making random ass babies because he's the wealthiest man in the world, because he's rich, all of a sudden he knows how to run the US government. Of course, let's just give him the reins because he's rich. He must know better. He must know better than you, right? Because he's rich. And Donald Trump is rich. He's got gold-plated faucets. Of course he knows about cutting
But
spending.
they forget he's an immigrant, but okay,
Oh
right?
yeah. Only rich immigrants can apply, right? Yeah. So when I listen to the average American, I'm like, you deserve every single thing that's about to come to you. Every single thing. Better start saving those dollars for those $300 tires. But don't worry, you're going to get $16 an hour at the factory in Alabama to make those tires. So, after 2 or 3 paychecks, you might be able to afford the products that you're manufacturing. Thank you for listening to my late night rant. Oh, Jesus, it was too much.
So
Wow.
eloquent. Wow.
Scooby's still
That
alive?
was really the point that I was trying to elicit from, Scooby. Not that he would have understood even, a portion of that because he's definitely entrenched into, basically hoping that Trump, leads folks in the right direction, but you're able to see that insight of what he's doing and how it's going to impact things down the line. And you've eloquently stated every single point that I'm looking at, which is watch out. Because what you're doing right now, instead of basically buying up those tires or bringing back those tires, even the pollution standpoint, thank you for that, Dance Hall. There's so many civil suits that took place because of pollution back in the day, and that's probably still going on. God knows, there's a lot of that. But again, you want to free up your labor force to do the important jobs, which right now with AI coming forth, one of the key areas is going to be your trades, your infrastructure, those types of jobs where robotics are just not going to be able to come in quite right away to do those things. And so, yeah, Miki just rocked it right now. And that pretty much, I mean, unless there's somebody else that has a point to kind of counter that argument, the grade is an F for me on Trump, and I think most folks would have to agree with that statement, especially if you have a bit of a crystal ball and a smidgen of openness in terms of looking at the lay of the land, regardless of political party. You can't advocate for any of the stuff that he's doing right now, especially with the law firms, the vindictiveness, the bullying, and all of those things that he's doing. It's really just unfortunate. And I'll land with that.
It just hit me. Tesla's company, supposed to be getting a lawsuit or brought to court from Canada. Can't remember the details because I don't know if you remember that. Like, if you buy a electric vehicle, you get a rebate, right? Tax rebate. So what Elon and Tesla was doing was pretending people were buying their cars and getting back that rebate, or when people bought Teslas, what they would do is not tell the consumer about the rebate and claim the rebate, and then they claim millions and these rebate things, and now they're being investigated. So I was wondering too, like, is Trump really messing around with Canada because they know? And Trump has his businesses here too. He has Trump Towers in Vancouver. So I'm wondering if Trump really just wants to say Canada is a state so that they could cover up a lot of shit that their companies are going through.
That might be the case. I mean, he sure has it for Canada. He doesn't need anything from us, but he wants to remove that border and make us into that 51st state over and over again. I just don't get it. I mean, none of his messaging makes sense to me.
Right, because we're in debt. And like, I don't know if Scooby's still here, but do you realize that the reason Donald Trump is cutting so much that you think is a cost saving measure is because his new tax bill that was approved by the House literally adds over $4 trillion to the federal deficit because he wants to give additional tax cuts to wealthy people and corporations. Like, are y'all just listening to Fox News or I don't know. I'm just like, huh? He's not, he's, they're carving money out of the budget so that they can give rich people additional tax cuts, which also contributed to the deficit his first administration. Sometimes it just makes
Is
me
he rich?
sad.
Is he rich? Scooby,
I
I don't
hope
know if
so.
he's rich.
I hope he is rich because I've worked with wealthy people, so I'm always going to booty clap for them because they've helped to pay my bills. But when has booty clapping for a billionaire helped any American? Like, I don't know. It's like y'all. I'm being serious. I'm gonna try not to be. It's like Donald Trump is a multi-billionaire who's literally a capitalist and a globalist. He has businesses all over the entire globe. Like, did y'all just hear one of the countries that he made an agreement with? I want to say it's Indonesia or Vietnam that he's going to build a new Gulf whatever there. He's using the business, which all of them do, right? But he's telling you that doing overseas business is bad. But part of his entire brand is international. So, but
Happy
y'all,
person in St. Vincent too. That man all over the place, even little islands.
right? Like Saudi Arabia, Greenland, and then it's like I'm listening to these people that are like Donald Trump's doing a great job. I'm like, how is he doing a great job though? We're cutting money for cancer research. We're cutting funding for nonprofits that fed people. Like, I'm not even talking about US aid outside of the country. I'm talking about in the country. We're cutting funding from universities and education. How huh? That those are to help poor people. Those are not for the wealthy people, but we're cutting that funding to give rich people more free shit. And I'm just like, so y'all think that Donald Trump is excluded outside of a billionaire and now you're caping for US corporations and billionaires? How did we get to this point as a nation? Like, how many people could even afford of his supporters can afford to even spend one day at one of his golf resorts? Do you know how much it costs to stay at Mar-a-Lago for one night? He's still making money. These policies, they still benefit him and his family a lot. Why? Because he's a extremely wealthy man and he has lots of corporations. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you want to aspire and endorse and loud, people that are better than you, that you perceived are better than you. But I'm here to tell you, just because Donald Trump is wealthy, it doesn't mean that he's better than you and that wealthy people always make the best decisions, right? They're just really good at making money. That's not always admirable, people. Like, come on, Jesus.
So,
Okay,
what's
I'm
your
done, y'all.
grade?
Going to
What's
get
your
my
grade?
cereal. An F is my grade for that man. You know why? Because he's destructive for no reason. He's like a spoiled child that has everything in the world, but they're not happy because there's just something wrong. Enough is never enough, right? So, going after the law firms to me is really, really troublesome because you can't use the presidency as a bully pulpit, right? I've said this before, compliance and regulations are why people invest in the United States because we're not a Venezuela or another country where the government can just come in and confiscate what you have, right? We're known for having the SEC, for having the Federal Trade Commission, right? For having all of these laws that we're not going to flip flop. Can you imagine if you went to your job and the way that Donald Trump has been running this country for 3 months is how your job was? You come in one day, they're going to change things. You don't know why. It's been working just fine, but they're going to change it. And they don't tell you why they're going to change it. They tell you why, but it makes no sense. And then you come in 2 days later and then they change it again. Maybe they go back. Maybe you know what I'm saying? Like you would literally just, like, what the hell? There's no pleasing that. So it's like, he's just, when you actually listen to him and knowing what I know, like about tariffs, it didn't make any sense. So I knew that his formula had to be off because they weren't reciprocal tariffs, they were retaliatory tariffs. And then we found out that he was literally increasing the tariffs because of the trade deficit, which doesn't make any sense, right? We consume more because we're Americans and we have more spending power. That's why we buy more. That doesn't mean, are we really supposed to expect a little country like Venezuela to buy as much as we buy from them? No, we even have bigger cars. Americans have more shit. We make a little bit more money in comparison to people around the world. So guess what? Our big ass trucks and our gas guzzlers are going to take up more gas probably than I don't know, the little tiny European cars that they drive in Venezuela. We make big ass vehicles, especially in Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma, because we like big ass trucks. I didn't see a dually when I was visiting London, but I see a dually here all the damn time. So duh, we consume more. We have more products. Like, guys, how many electronics do you have right now? I have two phones, I have an iPad, I have the big earphones, I have the plug-in earphones, I have two TVs, and I have three laptops. That's just in my bedroom. And all of this shit is on at the same time. So, do I think that some small middle class family in Indonesia has 30 damn electronic products in their house, including my kids' PS5 and all the other shit that the boys have? No. So, I don't expect it to be equal. It's not unilateral. So what the hell? So when he's sitting here telling Americans that, I'm listening, I'm like, surely somebody's going to call him out on this bullshit. Silence. Just the major economists, which nobody listens to them anyway. And it's like, he's starting an international trade war. No, he's not. Remember, even in this room, he's not starting an international trade war. No, he's not. Yes, the fuck he did. World markets went down because we're the United States, but we don't have any influence, right? But the entire world markets went down. But Donald Trump said we don't have any influence. Let me shut up, y'all. I'm just ranting. It just kind of pisses me off.
So, so, so
Vicky,
Vicky,
you mean
What
you
can you say
mean
to Trump, though?
legislative
Nobody could say
functions?
anything because
That
there's nothing to say to him. He doesn't hear you. He doesn't hear anybody. He hears exactly what's going on in his own little head, and that's it, period. He's not going to listen to anyone unless they're putting stuff in his pocket. And then his ears are going to perk up a little bit. But other than that, you can't criticize the man. He doesn't have that kind of a mindset. He's not like normal people who, if you criticize them, then they're like, oh, wow, well, maybe I should have done this differently, or let me rethink this or look at this in another way. He doesn't do that. He just gaslights the hell out of you and tells you how right he is.
All
And
right, Hillary.
that's the definition of a narcissist. So Hillary, what's this
All right,
great
guys.
thing?
Here's the deal. We're going to do a reset. Okay, a hard reset. If you're listening right now on CH, we're going to do a hard reset. If you're listening to the podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to actually, believe it or not, there's another episode that's going to be coming out later on today. You guys can download that, listen to that as well. There's the other episode will continue this last portion right here. So this hard reset will take place in about 5 seconds. You guys will be back in. And podcast members, we have a bonus episode, and you guys that will be released later on today. This is the Trump's 100th day in office. Thank you.